Hey guys, today we have a Minisforum Mini PC that my customer brought to me because, well, it's not powering on. And we're gonna figure out exactly why. The customer seems to think it has to do with the coin cell battery on board, but... Alright, so we started by removing the 4 rubber feet that are on the bottom of this guy, and we're just gonna pop them into, pop the screwdriver, Phillips head, into the screwdriver, see if it'll even reach down that far, which this is Linus's screwdriver, so hopefully it does reach that far. But from what I could see, it looked like they were Phillips screws that were in there. And it feels like I got it unscrewed, but it's not. Maybe it's captive, I don't know. Oh, there we go, not captive at all. So yeah, the customer says that he thinks it's a CMOS battery issue, and he did some research and that it's a very common problem. And I just haven't seen power issues usually related to a CMOS battery, but I've been proven wrong before. So especially with these mini PCs, where my knowledge is fairly limited, I feel like it's basically a laptop with some desktop components, but come on, get out of there. The magnetism is not great on these screws. Okay. That's the only one that came out right the first time. Alright, so the next step here is basically just pulling the bottom cover off. Customer was too nervous to pull out the motherboard to do a swap on the CMOS battery. So that's kind of what we're doing here. I see, realistically, looking at this, 4 big screws on the outside edge. So that doesn't seem like too big of a deal to me to just remove those. And I think our motherboard will just lift out from that point. All right. Can we leave everything else in it and just lift out the board? Or are we gonna have to flex on the plastic some to get this bad boy out of here? Alright, I'm gonna disassemble probably a little more than is necessary, just because there are some things I want to be sure I'm not ruining on this guy. So we're gonna go ahead and pull the heatsink off, which honestly, very simple. Okay. Alright, so I understand the concern about pulling the board and being nervous about doing so, but I think we're actually doing okay here. Seems like the board is going to come out fairly simply. All I really have to do is push from the side where the USB and HDMI ports and stuff are already recessed. And realistically, if I can pull just one side completely out, the other side should follow fairly simply. Like so. Almost there. Let's just wiggle a little bit. Wiggle, there we go. Alright. Okay, so that's the empty case of the Minisforum. That's all it is this tiny little motherboard here. And he has a CMOS battery here. The problem that we have is that the CMOS battery that he has here is just not the right thing. We need to order an actual CMOS battery to replace this with that has the cable attached and everything, because that's how this one actually attaches back to the board. So because this is one of those pre-taped up sticky batteries with leads attached to it. Just needs to be pulled like that with a double-sided tape away from the board here. Basically what I'll have to do, I mean, I could heat shrink wrap another one of these back to it and, you know, tape it back down. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get the official part for him that goes in this, and then we'll get this put back together. This is oftentimes what I see in any laptop setup, so it's not terribly uncommon that this is what we're seeing currently. All right, guys, we're back here. It is another day, and we finally have the correct battery, not just the coin cell here. If you saw in the last little snippet, I exploded the last lithium-ion battery, which was just this little lithium cell battery here. It's just a coin cell battery, so it's not a huge deal. It's the same thing as that. Applied a little too much heat with the heat gun here, and so as a result, we blew it up. It smelled in here for a little bit, so we're gonna go ahead and pop open our little bag of batteries that we have here. And because I do this so often, I just decided to buy a bag of 10, and this is the coin cell battery. So here's the shtick, guys. Like I said, their customer was worried that it was the battery, or the coin cell battery, that was the problem on the board. These typically are not the problem. I'm sure they can be, but this is just a shot in the dark, really. So what we're gonna do is put the coin cell battery, hook it up to the motherboard here, and then we're gonna see if we can boot it up just outside the case. I think I'll have to put some RAM in it, I guess, to make sure that it'll actually work. Look at this DDR4, I guess it's DDR5 laptop RAM here. There we go. And then for kicks and giggles, I'm just gonna slide the SSD in here as well, and we'll push it in right there. Okay, nothing else really needs to be plugged in at the moment. It looks like there's a, is that a fan sensor cable? Yeah, it's not, it's just a fan cable. That wasn't plugged in to begin with anyway, so I won't, or yeah, it was just plugged into those. I'm not gonna worry about that because it's just case fans. But we're gonna go ahead and plug this in right now and see if we can get power. And if we do, we'll know that the customer was right. And if not, we'll know that this computer power supply is probably no bueno. And based on the lack of response I'm getting here from the computer, so you can, if you're looking down here at the computer, and I don't know if you guys can even see this, the fan is not spinning. So we've got the power cord plugged in, we got everything hooked up here, and it is not spinning. So it is simply just not the coin cell battery that's the problem. Good to have it replaced, sure, but it's definitely not the issue. So that tells me that it must be the power cable that's the issue. Otherwise, the motherboard has taken a dive on us. So the next thing we'll do is actually test out the power supply cable and see if it's actually functional. I'm going to leave the new battery in there, especially since I destroyed the old one, and we'll test the voltage on this. I don't know how well you can see on the voltage meter what's happening, but again, take the dark lead, put it to the outside, like so, and the red one, and put it on the inside. And we're reading 19.10 there. So that's that. So the charge cord is working the way it's supposed to. Let's see if it's putting out the proper voltage here. 19.0 volts, yeah. So this is working exactly as intended. What I'm going to do is put the mini PC back in its case, and we'll see what happens. I don't see anything happening with this that's really beyond what we kind of already expect. that is all done. Now that everything is put back together, let's see if it turns on. We probably will get the same exact result. That is what I expect. But you never know. So yeah, and there's a little pinhole here where it looks like you can maybe reset the motherboard. So I'm going to try that really quick. And I'm going to do that with my sim popping tool here. Okay, so far we're not getting any signs of life, so this is not great. It's looking like this little guy might just be dead, unfortunately. Typically, even with a bad stick of memory, we'll still get some sign of life, and that's just not even showing here. So, okay, so I'm actually going to try to do my customer a solid here and see if I can get some video troubleshooting for the customer to show them, because this company, Minisforum, actually requires that you send in video evidence. Based on what I've seen from Reddit here, they're requesting that from some of their customers that they've done the troubleshooting. So this is me doing the troubleshooting for the customer so that he doesn't have to later, but I'm probably going to slap this onto the video anyway. First step I've taken here, I removed the power cord. Okay, we've got our no signal here, we got our HDMI cable plugged in that runs to there from the Mini PC. We press and hold this for 30 seconds. This is going to be a really long 30 seconds because we're doing it in the video. Anyway, I'm pressing and holding the power button for 30 seconds. I've removed and reseated RAM already. I'll do it again just to prove a point, but once we hit 331, it should be okay. Now, one thing you'll notice if you're watching this carefully is that those fans, they'll just start to spin up just when I plug in the power cord, and that's not normal behavior. They should only be spinning up when the CPU fan spins up, and that's just not happening. Typically I see that on regular PCs when there's a bad RAM connection or something of that nature, but watch the fans. Okay, I've held it for 30 seconds. It's done. We're going to plug it in. The fans immediately start running. We push the power button again, and nothing happens. Okay, we have the reset button here on the computer. It's right next to the power button. We're still on and running, right? We take the what do we call this thing? Sim popper, and we try the reset button. No change. Mind you, the fans are still running here. I'm not going to mess with RAM while the thing is powered on, so I'm going to pull the power again. I'm going to take the RAM out, like so. We're going to swap it for the other stick of memory that we have here. Okay? We're going to pop this stick of memory in here. We're going to plug the computer back in. Immediately the fans start running. We'll push the power button. No signal to the screen. Alright. We've removed the SSD. That way it's not a problem. Heatsink included because it just wanted to stick this time. But yeah, there's no possible way that this is going to boot up. It's definitely a motherboard issue. Unfortunately for you guys, it's not a very satisfying conclusion to the video, but I can say that I've done everything for my customer that he asked, and then some that he didn't ask, just to try to troubleshoot this problem. So, long story short, we're gonna hook everything back up here, make it look like it was still from the factory, even though we've definitely done our diagnostics on it. Slide that SSD back into its slot. Push it down there. We'll grab the screw for the SSD, and we'll just reassemble everything one more time. This is not the most fortunate outcome, but this is the kind of stuff that happens from time to time, and it's just really outside of your control. Sometimes there's warranty processes that customers can go through, and what I aim to do here is to help my customers with their warranty process by simplifying it. If they need video proof of troubleshooting, then they can get the video proof from me. That way everything's just a little easier. Alright guys, I'm back. Sorry, I guess it was just a Walmart grocery order that my wife placed. I knew she placed one, just didn't know when it was expected, so not a big deal. At first I thought somebody was ding-dong ditching me because I looked back at my Amazon Echo show and nobody was at the door, but the doorbell obviously rang. You guys heard it. So, thought I was getting punked for a minute there. Alright, well, I'm just going to start out by telling you guys thank you for watching this video. Didn't know that it would end up this way. I don't think I ever really expected it to. At least we have a diagnosis that the motherboard is the problem on this computer. It's not the individual RAM sticks, it's not the SSD, it's definitely something with the motherboard itself, or something about the power delivery system on the motherboard. So, customer can rest assured knowing they did everything that they could and that I did everything I could to try to get them answers anyway. Sadly, that still leaves them without a computer and with a $10 part that I put in there for them. So, well, it doesn't wind up being $10, but that's what the cost was overall. So, thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. I could really use more subscribers. We're trying to hit 1,000. We're really close. So, if you have a Minisforum PC, definitely try the steps that I did here for the troubleshooting. See what you can come up with. I liked the idea of the coin cell battery being the problem, but unfortunately it just wasn't. So this is going to go back to my customer, and he is going to have to see if they'll honor any kind of warranty, and that's just about all. Thanks for watching.